BYU Sports Nation, presented by the BYU Store. Simulcast on BYU TV and BYU Radio. Now live from Studio C, it's Spencer Linton and Jarom Jordan.
BYU Sports Nation is live, your day-to-day play-by-play in Studio C, presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere. I am Jarom Jordan, alongside a man who is ready to board the pirate ship at Raymond James Stadium on Saturday, perhaps even today or tomorrow. Spencer Linton.
Jarom, I have to get acclimated to the Tampa humidity, the sea life, if you will, work on my sea legs a little bit. It certainly is not cool in Tampa. It's very hot, it's very sunny, it's very humid, but I'm just trying to get an idea of what this is going to be like for BYU football on Saturday so that I can adequately and accurately explain to them what to prepare for as they're on the flight over here today.
And no one has an ounce of empathy for you. 91 degrees, 57% humidity. How is Tampa this fine day as you have almost boarded a yacht behind you?
Yeah, it's warm for sure. We're on the Riverwalk here. I am just outside the team hotel, the Marriott on Water Street. So BYU is staying right in the heart of Tampa this year and should be arriving in a few hours. Like I said, they're traveling to Tampa today, but beautiful location, just a little bit warmer than Utah and a tad bit more humid than the conditions that we're used to dealing with in the Rocky Mountains.
And you must feel comfortable as a Utah next to a white vinyl fence, which is very exciting. Okay, more from Spencer coming up in a moment. Okay, here's what's on the show today. What's the next step in BYU football's progression? New Year's Six expanded playoff, which will be voted on tomorrow. Big 12 title, we'll discuss. What perhaps are we overly confident about heading into the South Florida game? We'll ask Brian Logan that as he triumphantly returns to the program today. Our completely unbiased Big 12 plus 4 power rankings. The debut today, and it's a double game day with top 10 ranked women's soccer and women's volleyball. Two good matchups at the same time. Hashtag we want Bama. But first, let's serve up some sweaty headlines, Spence.
BYU football, as I mentioned, Jarom, is traveling to Tampa, Florida as we speak. They're ready to join me in the nice, calm, cool conditions of South Florida for their season opener against the Bulls on Saturday at Raymond James Stadium, the home of the NFL's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yes, that's where Tom Brady plays, but it's BYU and USF first before Tom Brady and the Bucs take that field. Bulls head coach Jeff Scott says, Jarom, his team is better, but frankly, he's just not sure how much.
Off season, winter, spring, summer workouts, fall camp has been, the best that it's been since I've been here. So I have no doubt in my mind that we're better. Now how much better and how that measures up against a very talented top 25 BYU team coming in, we'll find out on Saturday.
Jarom, he has a hint of Ty Detmer in his voice, does he not?
Jamal, I was like, what? Is that you? I want a coach to be like, you know what? We had the third best fall camp since I've been here. You know, like, it's always the best. It's always depth. It's always perfect. Tis the season. Okay, let's play some football. Cougars in the NFL.
Yeah.
Matt Bushman, who had 2 touchdowns and a broken clavicle in the last Chiefs exhibition game, he's on the Chiefs injured reserve. So the Chiefs retain him. They want to keep him. The Chiefs also signed Zane Anderson to the practice squad, as did the Patriots with Harvey Longy, Colts with Tyson Williams and Chris Wilcox. And of note, a little bit of a surprise here, the Bears cut Kyrus Tonga. No word on if they're going to keep him for the practice squad.
How about this note out of basketball, Jarom? BYU will not play Utah State this upcoming season because they couldn't come to an agreement on where and when and how many games to play. Utah State wanted to play in Vivint Arena, the home of the Utah Jazz in Salt Lake City, then Logan, then Provo. BYU wanted to play in Vivint and then have the option to reevaluate after that game. So the Cougars didn't want to sign a 3-year agreement due to approaching Big 12 scheduling.
Yeah.
Neither team able to come to an agreement, while BYU now says, okay, we're just going to take a hiatus, and who knows when BYU and Utah State are going to play men's basketball again.
The football game's a big deal this year. And oh, by the way, women's volleyball against Utah State tonight, which we'll mention in just a moment. Number 6, women's soccer hosts Alabama tonight, 9 Eastern on the BYUTV app. Remember, the Cougars beat Bama 4-1 in the second round of the NCAA tournament last year en route to the national championship game. Big one for the ladies.
Jarom, as you mentioned, BYU women's volleyball 3-0 on the season after taking care of business last Saturday night against Washington State. They're at home tonight against Utah State, opening up the BYU Nike Invitational. Utah State and BYU will meet for the first time in women's volleyball in more than a decade. It's been 11 years. The Cougars lead the all-time series, 41 matches to 16. Looking forward to that.
I'm surprised in the history of their 16 losses, right? But Utah State is back to where they used to be, which is a very good competitive team. They beat number 12 UCLA over the weekend. This is going to be a fun match tonight. Cross-country rankings are out. The men are 4th, the women are 7th. They both run in the UVU Invitational this afternoon to start the season. No word on if the course will go through the entire campus, which can be reached indoors, which I absolutely love in the winter.
Jarom, because this college football season has not had enough drama and enough news, we add this. There's a vote on college football playoff expansion forthcoming. Dennis Dodd of CBS Sports is reporting that vote could be done as early as this Friday, which means that the playoff and the bracket could be expanded by the 2024 season. What in the world? I thought this was off the table for a couple of years. Apparently not. And the report is saying it most likely will expand to 12 teams. So, yeah, let's just build it up to even greater heights as we approach a new college football season.
I want a 12-team playoff. I think it'd be great. Much more on that coming up in just a moment. As we rise and shout, it's time for What's Trending.
You're talking about it, and so are we. It's What's Trending on BYU Sports Nation.
After 21 wins the last 2 years in its first preseason AP Top 25 ranking since 2009, BYU football is in an absolutely relevant spot in college football's landscape. So, Spencer, what's the next step in the program's progression?
It's a great question, Jarom, and I'm going to utilize the pillars that came out that hang within the BYU football office. I know you know them well. Many BYU fans know them well. But there were a bunch of things that BYU had not done on that list until recent years, which is beat your rivals, have a top 25 ranking, win your bowl game. There is a go to a New Year's Six game on that pillar marker. So naturally, I kind of lean to, well, yeah, it's going to be the New Year's Six for sure. It has to be the New Year's Six, right? Well, now there's the college football playoff that's in play, Jarom. Like, what in the? So does the college football playoff then become the next level of natural progression for BYU if it's not a New Year's Six game? That to me seems like the obvious step. That's a big step, but that seems like the next step for BYU to get to more national relevance and do something that Ed Lamb was talking about on Coordinator's Corner, where he's like, look, what we did last year in the year probably it was good, but it wasn't good enough. Like we need to be at that next tier. We need to get in the top 15. We need to be in a New Year's Six game. So I tend to feel like that's the next step, is a major bowl game and consistent top 15 rankings where BYU is talked about as a potential college football playoff participant when it expands to what we hope is 12 teams. What do you think?
Yeah, the New Year's Six is essentially the top 12 teams, but not exactly because of bowl affiliation. Depending on the year, what bowls are tied to the college football playoff, which is currently 4 teams, and what not. A G5 can be outside of the 12 there and be in. So it's not exactly the top 12. We don't know on this top 12 whether that's going to include auto bids for conference champs or not. If you're the SEC and Big Ten, you certainly probably don't want those because, hey, if the Pac-12's best team is ranked 14th, why should they be in this? Why can't we have our 4th best team, who's also inside the top 12, perhaps be in this? So we'll see. To me, the next step for BYU football is not the New Year's Six or an expanded playoff. It is to do it again, because it is so hard to do this. One time during my sister's Little League basketball game as a kid, I put up some crazy shot from somewhere, and I made it, and this codger on the side said, "Do it again." And I thought, you do it once, old man. But I wanted to not feel like I needed to do it again, but in this case, I feel like BYU needs to sustain what it has done. 2020 was unique. 2021 was unique as well. Can BYU continue to raise the bar without feeling like it has to me, that's a couple rungs up there. 21 proved BYU could, hey, play against P5s. That was great. But they've got to show that they can do it again. I don't want it to be a one-off. I don't want it to be like, well, that was an outlier. I want BYU this year to split with those Big Four, win 10 games again, and now BYU enters the Big 12 as a team that, hey, the last 3 years, especially the last 2, has really shown us they can compete for this. If BYU gets to a Big 12 title game, that means that they will likely be in a New Year's Six type position. Most of the time, even the loser of that game gets into a New Year's Six type game. Obviously, if you win, you're in. So maybe we could quantify it as win the Big 12 starting next year, which next year's not the year. To me, maybe the year after that. BYU just settles in. But to me, it's do it again against tougher competition. Take that next step. And then if you really, if you're putting a list out for everybody, you're not going to say win 10 games again and prove that we've. I get that you could quantify that as get into a New Year's Six. But to me, it's more about once you're in the Big 12 starting next year, get to the title game, and then you're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, to your point, Jarom, you're right. I mean, the next level of progression certainly includes, hey, do this again. Do it against a really tough schedule. Win 10-plus games against an even tougher schedule than what you had in 2021. Make it 3 straight years. So, yeah, there is that sub-step. So it's hard to, I think we both can be right. That's kind of like the next immediate step that you're talking about. And then, but I feel like from the national standpoint, the next thing for BYU to do is to do what Notre Dame has been doing, and that is going to New Year's Six games and having a chance at the college football playoff. But you're right. There are several sub-steps to take that big step. The question is, how does BYU do that as fast as possible? How do they do that this year? How do they take that next step this year? Because as we pointed out on the show, oh, man, it's just going to be tough to break into a New Year's Six game this year as an independent and not having that many at-large spots available for those New Year's Six games. So, yeah, I would be just fine if what you proposed happens. BYU wins 10 games against this schedule, and we as BYU fans in the community feel that there is progression. But ultimately, for us to get noticed on the national landscape, they've taken the next step, BYU's got to start doing things that they've never done before, and that's really competing for a New Year's Six bowl game and being in one, and then maybe being a part of that expanded 12-team playoff. All right, Jarom, let's take it to topic 2. The road to a New Year's Six game, or more national relevance for BYU, starts this Saturday against USF. We feel very confident in a number of things about this BYU football team, starting with the quarterback, offensive line, plenty of offensive weapons. We feel like collectively the defense will be better. They're more healthy. But are we perhaps overly confident in some aspects or one aspect? Jarom, where are we perhaps overly confident when we look at this BYU football team?
I'll just speak for myself on this. One, last year, BYU is amazing because of several things. The top 2 things, in my opinion, were in this order: Tyler Algier's play in the O-line, and 2, BYU did not give the ball away very much. In fact, BYU gave it away 12 times, 5 picks, 7 interceptions. Are you kidding me? That's one of the greatest seasons in BYU history in that number. To some degree, that's luck. You can control part of that, but it's not all. You can't control whether the ball tips off a receiver's hands and then goes into a defender's hands. Whether a ball, you can control the ball, but hey, sometimes someone punches that ball out, like it happens. That's unbelievable. I hope BYU can approximate that number. I'd take 16 or fewer, let alone 12. You know what I mean? And then the other thing is that we are very confident that Christopher Brooks is going to be very good and that the offensive line is going to be great.
Yes.
If both those things happen, we're good. But if they don't, it changes things. We're expecting Christopher Brooks and the O-line to be incredible.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I answer the question, is with the offensive line specifically. If I'm being completely honest, I don't care what the weather is on Saturday, hot, humid, super rainy, if it's just a downpour in South Florida, doesn't matter. BYU's got the offensive line in place to road grade and dominate their defensive line front. That's how I am feeling. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the weather's going to be. The offensive line is so experienced, so good. They're ready. They've been told that it could be weird conditions. They've been trying to prepare for this. And
they
frankly,
might
they're
welcome
just
it.
Better physically and more experienced. Yes, they might want that, right? They might want to prove, good, we don't want to throw the ball. We want to run all over these guys. If there's an area that I'm overconfident, it is in that area, that BYU, regardless of conditions, will be able to successfully run the ball against their counterpart on Saturday. I just feel like that should happen, and it will happen. Maybe that's erroneous on my part, but Jarom, dang it, I'm sticking to it. I feel like BYU has the advantage on the offensive line against that defensive front, and
100%.
They should absolutely exploit it, and we will see them exploit it. So that's where I answer this question. Am I overly confident? Maybe, but I'm sticking to it.
I'm overly confident in the game generally. I think BYU wins big. I do. I think BYU explodes out of the gate. It's going to be fun. Okay, question of the day. Were you perhaps overly confident in this BYU football team? Let's get to you in Voice of the Nation.
This is the Voice of the Nation on BYU Sports Nation.
Jefferson Ogden on Twitter. The offensive line, all of the talk from both you and nationally has my expectations through the roof on how they will perform this year. Yeah, more O-line talk this year than literally any other year on this show, by far. COVID has kept certain guys here that may have been gone, who knows. But anyway, second response. Brent Fredrickson on Twitter. I'm perhaps overly confident that BYU beats all the G5s because of the lessons learned last year and the maturity of the team. Hey, that's the hope. You win all the G5s and you go 3-2 against the P5s. And of course, FCS, 10-2. 10-2 right there.
10-2. 10-2, man. And I'm here for it. Hey, if I'm wrong about the offensive line, I will happily stand on the podium and take the shame, but I don't think I'm going to be wrong. Okay, coming up, Jarom, BYU Sports Nation Game Day will get the season started on Saturday as they get everyone ready for BYU at South Florida. Join Dave McCann, Blaine Fowler, David Nixon, Brian Logan here in Provo, or there in Provo, I should say, and me in Tampa as we break down the matchup. Watch live 2 Eastern on BYU TV and the BYUTV app. A 2-hour special.
That's right, baby. And speaking of Brian Logan, he's back and ready to talk about the BYU defense. This is BYU Sports Nation from Provo and Tampa.
Couture luxurious blanket. Getting cozy with family and friends. A gift for everyone. Minky Couture, official luxury blanket of BYU Athletics.
What guy could possibly deal with all of this?
You know who I ran into at the restaurant? Helen White.
The Helen White?
So how many kids do you have?
I have 8 kids.
I have 10.
I asked her to marry me.
And I said yes.
Guys, we're all in this together. But if we want out, then we gotta stop fighting and get them to start.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
We're looking at Tampa, Florida, as BYU takes on South Florida on Saturday afternoon, 2-hour edition of BYU Sports Nation Game Day. I'm Jarom Jordan in Studio C, and you know what? The last couple of years, we have missed his infectious laugh, his personality, and today he returns triumphantly like the prodigal son. Brian Logan is back on BYU Sports Nation. It's good to see you, man. How you been?
You too. I've been good, man. I've been blessed. Can't complain, man. I'm excited to be here, seeing everybody. You know, when I walked in and I saw Ben, I was like, I'm home. I'm home. It feels good. It feels good, man.
Yeah, I think someone started playing I'm Coming Home, and we're like, where did this come from in the background? No, it's good to have you, man. And, yeah, here we are on the precipice of another season.
Yep.
It's September. Fall camp's done. We can stop talking about practice. We can talk about games, which is exciting. And you're going to be part of BYU Sports Nation Game Day, 2 hours now on Saturday. That's going to be a fun show, man.
It is. And, you know, I was campaigning for that for what?
For years.
Years, right? I was like,
we
yo,
did
Jarom,
we
we
did
need
a
2
3-hour
hours.
show, Brian.
In the rain?
In the rain with Texas. We delayed 2 hours.
And every time you bring this up, I still got to bring up the invoice. I still need my suit to be reimbursed.
It's been 8 years. You haven't sent an invoice in for the suit.
I sent.
Lemma hasn't either.
I sent it to you. Oh,
no, you
I must have got the wrong email. But you know what? Look, everybody.
I did Jaron Jordan.
Look, check this out. Everybody is happy and excited. Like you said, you know, guys are now moving into the game. They don't have to hit each other anymore. Us as fans, we want to see some live action going on. And everybody's been waiting for, what, 9 months? I've been waiting for like 3 years for this moment, you know what I'm saying, to get back. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to be back with everybody. There's been, you know, such a buzz around the community. You know, everybody's, you know, when they see me out, they're like, oh, are you coming back? When you come back? I'm like, finally. I'm back. I'm finally coming back.
You're going to send a fax like Michael Jordan that just says, I'm back.
I am going to do that, yeah.
Good luck finding a fax machine. We're talking to Brian Logan. He's back on BYU Sports Nation. Okay, obviously, we are stoked about this team. I'm trying to remember the last time we walked into a season this confident.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been 20-plus years probably where we knew what we had coming off a great year, the quarterback, the coordinators, the coaching staff. You add pieces to an already good team. Obviously, losing Tyler Algier, massive loss. But we think Christopher Brooks is pretty good. How are you feeling about this group against this schedule?
I think it's our year, man. Like,
what does that mean?
Like, this sounds so cliche. It does, but I feel like all the pieces are there. You know, the ingredients that make up a good team, and I would say a great team, like you just said, are there. When you guys have the production that's coming back, you have the returners, the coordinators, right? You know, I think I saw a stat that said that BYU ranked #1 in that production coming back.
Yes.
And then you have the schedule to do it, right? So, you know, there's times
to do what, Brian?
Because
this schedule's harder than last year, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Now look, listen. We know there may be 2 or 3 teams.
Sure.
You know, P5 teams where they're not that good, right? Like 2009 when I played at Oklahoma, right? We won, it was good, and then towards the end of the year we were like,
they went 8-5, still good.
Still
but
good.
They weren't like challenging for national titles.
Right, exactly.
You knocked out the Heisman Trophy winner.
Right, and so with this schedule, if we have the same assumption, you can look, you know, throughout the years, right? Like BYU has beat these Power 5 schools that, you know, have had a down year. And the significance changes, you know, over time as the season progresses. But I think these schools on this schedule have such a brand name that if that were to be the case this year, I think it's easily, I won't say easily, but I think it could be overlooked in the eyes of the media, right?
It's going to be a good win regardless. If BYU beats Baylor, it's a good win regardless of whether Baylor's 9-3, 12, or 11-1, 7-6.
100%.
At Oregon.
You articulated that way better than I did.
No,
exactly.
You're
right.
I'm trying to understand your point. Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's the year where I'll take a step back. Let's say the schedule isn't as hard or tough, or you don't have those brand name schools, right? And let's say BYU just loses 1 game. What's the argument going to be from the media?
Well, this was 2020, was it not?
Bingo, exactly. So if that's the case this year, though, I think it's a tougher argument, meaning there's an opportunity to play in a high-level, you know, ball game.
If BYU goes 10-2, that could be equal to 11-1 on an easier schedule, or frankly 9-3, depending on how the opponents go. Like if BYU finishes having played 4 teams who finished ranked, it's one of the toughest schedules that BYU's ever played. I don't believe that 4 will finish ranked. I believe 2 or 3 will.
Yeah.
But like, how many do you win out of that? So we've talked about the big 4 being Baylor, Oregon, Notre Dame, and Arkansas in that order. There are other big games, but not as big as those 4. If BYU splits that, I'm happy, man. What would you be happy with?
3-1.
I'd be ecstatic with 3-1. That'd be crazy.
3-1, man. You know what? It's hard to articulate in regards to the momentum, right? And the momentum is there. It's tough, especially nowadays with college and kids are transferring. Like, you go through camp and then kids are transferring. It's crazy, you know what I'm saying? And so when you have a team that has been successful, they've been around for a while, and then they're coming back, you kind of, like me as an athlete, I'm pinching myself. You know, I'm like, man, we have guys coming back. We have depth that we got from last year. We have a schedule that media can't really argue against, you know, if we're successful with. And so you really think about all of the pieces that you need, right, to have that special season, you know, to win 10 games, to win 11 games. It's there, man. It's there. So thinking about it, I get goosebumps. And the expectations, you know, from somebody that's been in the program, somebody that's seen the growth from Kalani and how he's took over the program, and his momentum, right? Like, all of it together, man. You gotta feel it. You gotta feel it, man. I feel like everybody does feel it. And you listen to these interviews. That's the key, man. The culture and the interviews really has me hyped. I get goosebumps hearing every other guy because, you know, they feel it too. You know, they said, look, I feel like we're on the cusp of something. Like it's gonna be a good year. You know what I mean? And that whole vibe, that energy, I feel it. I know fans feel it. I know the community feels it.
It's very exciting. We're talking to Brian Logan on BYU Sports Nation. Let's talk about what could have an impact on this game, which is obviously heat, humidity. It might rain during the game. Yep. You played a game in Florida, at Florida State in 2010. Yeah. We don't have to talk about how it went.
Oh, it's fine. Look. We don't talk about 2009 Florida State.
That one was tough.
2009 Florida State. That's a no-no.
2010 was also tough, but that whole season, had its ups and downs.
That was tough. But
ended high.
You know, I ended up. So why we could talk about it is because I got 0 balls thrown to me. I ended up getting hurt.
The ultimate respect.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I ended up getting hurt. I think like the end of the third quarter. And then as soon as I got out, Corby Eason, my backup, came in, and then ball came. So I was like, okay, respect. So we could talk about that.
Well, you got to call Corby out like that.
No. Well, it was an incomplete ball.
Okay,
you know?
okay.
So, you know what I mean? Look, if you're my backup, my backups are good. You know what I'm saying?
But Spencer and I feel that way, too, on the show.
Speaking of that, no, I'm just playing. I told Ben, I said, look, man, I'm happy I got in, and it's one showdown. I got 3 more left. It's next is AFR. I'm trying to keep back in with AFR. The third one is, this show.
You got on a 2-hour pregame show. That's the biggest one we got.
Right? 1 down, 3 to go. 2 to go. So with Florida State, what I remember was it being hot, like extremely hot.
Did it affect how the way you could play? Could you be yourself? Could you play your game? To use.
So whenever I was on the sideline, I was hurting. Like which is interesting, right? Like,
you had loser's limp on the sideline?
No, I didn't have loser's limp because I was, when you don't get no balls thrown to you, you're a winner.
I'm using some of your phrases. Boo-Boo Johnson, loser's limp.
Yep. Those
Vaseline.
I remember now. Yeah, Vaseline. Yeah. I remember the seniors. We went and talked to Coach Mendenhall. We said, hey, can we wear all white? Because it's gonna be hot. And so that was fun and that was cool. But man, I thought I would be impacted because I always get cramps. You know stories of like when I played against Utah here in 2009, and I had the pickle juice, and I was cramping. The stadium was, cheering my name, and so I've always.
That was your Rudy moment.
That was. I think I'm taller than Rudy, right?
I can confirm that. Okay. I interviewed him last year against Arizona.
Okay, yeah. Okay, there we go.
I asked him if he was offside.
Look, another win. That's another win. Was he offside?
He says, no. Okay. I was like, I think you were.
Okay, here's another point. So I started thinking about this, just, hearing, analysts and stuff like that talk about the weather. When we played in the alumni game, they had like these heated seats, right?
It was cold.
And I said, I was sitting down and I was doing something. I was drinking my pickle juice. And
you were drinking pickle juice for real?
Yeah.
During the alumni game?
Yeah. Okay. I had two.
You took it as seriously as Max did.
I had 2 jars. Oh, we all did. Look, so I was drinking it, and David Nixon, he had what's the little massage thing? Gun?
Oh, yeah, it's like a little massage gun.
I was like, let's switch. So everybody was, taking shots of pickle juice. It was fun. But
Acceptable shots on the sideline of BYU. Yeah.
Pickle juice, man. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Chocolate milk.
Right. Chocolate. Look, you only get chocolate milk when you win. Right. That's it.
Them's the rules.
That is the rules. So, my point is that I was so astonished by the technology because the seats were heated, and I was like, "Yo, Brandon, B, come here!" I was telling everybody, "Come here, the seats are
Brandon
heated."
Bradley, yeah.
Brandon Bradley, Grandpa B. The seats are heated, and everybody was laughing at me. Like, wow, like you haven't. I'm like, man, I didn't know, like technology like this. I wish we had this when I played, And so my point is that I don't think that the players would be as affected, compared to when I played, right? And especially in games where it was cold, if you were a backup, like if there weren't enough jackets, our second strings, they would wear our jackets, and then as soon as we come off, they got to give them, right? So, you're kind of in a pretty bad situation if you're not actually playing. But you think about the science, you think about all the trainers. I heard the staff there's like 20 new members on the staff now, specifically for training.
A little bit of money coming in here.
Man, that Big 12 money, man. So I think the players will be fine. This is the thing though, is this, it's mental. A lot of it is mental. So if you're having fun, it doesn't matter if it's raining, if it's hail. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant because you're having fun, right? There's times where we would be playing in the snow at Colorado or here and it's raining, and we get an interception or something, and we're doing slip and slides. We're doing snow angels. Why? Because we're winning. So
winning is fun.
Winning is fun.
Yes. Okay, let's talk about this defense back group, specifically the corners. Yep. If you were on this roster, are you starting over D'Angelo Mandel or Caleb Hayes on this team?
I don't care. Look, check this out, man. I don't care what name, you say. I'm starting over anybody. Look, this my camera, right? I'm starting over anybody. Anybody.
Over anybody. Mm-hmm. Deion Sanders somehow comes to BYU in his heyday.
I'm starting over Deion too.
Okay then.
That's just the mentality that you have to have as a corner, right?
Would you start over Deion? No, but that's the mentality you got.
But the other two, yeah.
But the other, yes,
this is the thing with this question.
Because those guys are pretty good.
Really good.
And Gabe Judy Lally.
I've been really high on D'Lo, since he stepped foot.
You've loved him the whole time.
I have, and I really like Jacob Robinson.
Moving from safety to corner, I'm intrigued.
Look, I remember the Utah game, and I was on the set with the guys, and he made a play, and I was like, Uncle B, who is that? Like, who is that? And he started,
transfer from Utah State.
All that. And I said, he reminds me of Joe, my cousin, Joe Sampson. Mm-hmm. The instincts, right? And being able to play nickel, so you could play corner, you could play safety, but the ability to come down in the box and guard, your slot receivers, still come up and be physical, make tackles, and still make plays on the ball, right? Like that's a DB that's rare to find, especially nowadays when players are really specialized, right? So I mean, Coach G's done a really good job of recruiting, and when I say what's interesting with this question is I wouldn't have even been recruited by him. He looked at me like 5'6".
There's a certain height and speed they're going for, or whatever, right?
Exactly. Shout out to
you would have met one of those requirements.
Look, shout out to my mom. I don't know if I told you the story. Shout out to my mom because when Coach Hill came and recruited me, right before he was maybe like 5 minutes out, my mom was like, "Go put some socks in your shoes." So I went
to be 5'9".
To be 5'9". So she said, get some Jordans, like whatever Jordans that are the thickest, put those on.
Get the stilts.
And then look, so I came downstairs and I had like 3-4 football socks, and she folded them twice, put them in, and she was like, okay. So I was like,
whatever you gotta do.
Forgive me, Coach, because when I get to camp, I'm gonna be 3 inches shorter. So.
Right, and I think it was worth it.
I think so.
I think it was worth it.
I think so.
Thanks for your time, man. We look forward to seeing you coming up 2 Eastern time on Saturday for BYU Sports Nation Game Day. Have fun with the guys. Great to see you.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited to be your next backup.
I love it. Let's go. Brian Logan in studio. Check out 6th-ranked women's soccer taking on Alabama. We want Bama tonight, 9 Eastern on the BYUTV app. Listen on the BYU radio app as well. Remember, BYU beat Alabama in the second round of the NCAA tournament last year. And who will score more times against Alabama this weekend? BYU women's soccer or Utah State football? We'll discuss. This is BYU Sports Nation.
They prefer to be bringing the heat, getting set for success, demonstrating their drive. But when their blood and sweat turns to tears or anything else, we lay the groundwork for BYU's athletes to hit the ground running again, and you as well. Intermountain Healthcare, official medical provider for BYU Athletics.
Trio Orem Senior Living believes in empowering seniors to live life to the fullest. We help eliminate stress out of daily life when you live at Trio. Less time focusing on housework means you can socialize at one of our many events, with safety in mind, of course. And did we mention our spacious apartments with modern amenities? Learn more about setting up a private tour at trioorem.com.
If you're looking to build your brand awareness and increase market share as BYU moves into the Big 12, this is the place, BYU Athletics. We can provide the tools you need to make sure your company is seen and heard. BYU Athletics is where you can align your products and services with loyal fans that cheer for our Cougars. And they can also help your business win. Learn more about what a partnership with BYU Athletics and your company will look like. After all, this is the place. Email sponsorship at byu.edu today.
Home is just about to get a whole lot happier.
So you've been living with no furniture for about 2 months. Well, we're about to change that for you.
Watch as helpful folks lend a hand to those in need. See them refurbish and replenish homes all over the world.
Caitlin left her house when she was 13, and now she's finally home.
With all kinds of shows to explore on the BYUTV app, you're sure to find loads your family can watch together. Stream them all for free.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Maersk, your e-commerce logistics shipping partner.
This is BYU Sports Nation. To interact with the show and get great content throughout the day, follow us on our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. I know you love the TikTok, Jarom.
I do love the TikTok, although I'm trying to avoid it right now so I can actually prepare for the volleyball matches. Otherwise, 2 hours later, I'll be like, where am I? Why am I in Orem's
It's
Walmart?
the worst black hole.
What just happened?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's awesome.
It is such a black hole.
He is Spencer from Tampa. I am Jarom from Provo. Let's whip it. Good Whip Around is presented by Maersk, your e-commerce logistics shipping partner.
The forecast for game time, Jarom, is calling for 90 degrees with 65 to 70% humidity, 40% chance of rain through the course of the game. What is your level of concern about the weather forecast for BYU's season opener in Tampa at USF?
Well, you know, Boise State and UAB featured some fumbles in the rain. So there is a little bit of concern. But if BYU's O-line is super legit, like we think it is, and, you know, we'll talk about it in a second, but PFF says it's one of the top 10, then why wouldn't BYU just run the rock and dominate, regardless of what the precipitation is like?
Yeah, Jarom, you were talking about that with me this morning with the rain and the fumbles. And yeah, it was a setback for BYU last year. So there's some PTSD mentally there for me on behalf of BYU. But, you know, BYU didn't have in those games last year a healthy starting Jaron Hall. He played against Boise State, was clearly not healthy. He did not play against UAB. He's healthy. He's playing against USF. As much as the rain may stink and muddy up the game, quite literally, you got Jaron Hall. He's the captain. He's going to lead that team behind that offensive line. So my concern is not as great as it once was.
What do you think of the NFL cuts with the BYU guys?
Well, you never like to see it, right? However, we are starting to see some guys that are coming back onto practice squads with Zane Anderson. Even Matt Bushman got placed on the injured reserve. Hopefully he gets to land with the Kansas City Chiefs. Tyson Williams and Chris Wilcox with the Colts. I anticipate that we'll see maybe a few more guys end up on practice squads as well, including Kai Nakua and Kairos Tonga. So while the cuts stink, it's good to see some good players with experience in the NFL get called back up to the practice squads. And I imagine just because of the physical nature of the game, we'll see those guys on 53-man rosters as well. I would love for at least one of the Nakuas to get a shot. I would love to see Samson Nakua get a shot somewhere. I just think he's such a gamer. He's such a playmaker. So I hope he gets onto a practice squad.
Yeah, Kairos Tonga and Harvey Langi being cut was a surprise, which, by the way, the difference between Utah and BYU in the NFL has been stark the last couple of years. The difference is Utah by 2 this year. That's it. And if Tonga and Longy had made those rosters, it would have been even. So those were surprised. Happy for Zane, by the way. He's the guy we don't talk about that's sticking in the NFL.
Pro Football Focus, speaking of pro football, Jarom released a ranking of their top offensive lines in the country. Okay, listen to this. Notre Dame is number 2. Baylor is number 4. Arkansas is number 5. What do all those teams have in common? They're all on BYU's schedule. BYU is number 6. Oregon receives an honorable mention. What's your reaction to those rankings and what it means for BYU this season?
1, BYU's O-line is super legit, like we think. Hey, we're not the only ones saying it. And 2, if BYU truly gets the split among the Big 4, your boy's happy, because those O-lines are really good.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be a significant challenge week in and week out, it feels, particularly with those Power 5 teams. But BYU's right there. I love the validation that brings. You know, while BYU is below 3 of those teams, they're essentially right there and right on par with them. We're going to have some epic battles this year, and I'm looking forward to it.
O-line play, man. We're going to watch it like we've never watched it before. Are you sad to see the future of the BYU-Utah State men's basketball game become perhaps a casualty of Big 12 basketball schedules?
Yes, because that was my fallback on the fact that BYU and Utah State were not going to play in football. Well, at least they're playing in basketball every year, so it's okay. Well, now they're not playing in either of the major men's sports, and it stinks. I don't like it. I like the Aggies on the schedule, both with football and basketball. I get it with football. Like, there are way fewer opportunities to make that happen, especially with BYU going to the Big 12 and finally getting into a Power 5 conference. But basketball, they've got more maneuverability. There are more games. I think you should play every major in-state foe, and it should happen every year. So I hope they can come to an agreement at some point in the near future, because I don't like that Utah State's not on the schedule. That's a fun game, and it's fun to go to Logan and play in that crazy environment. And I think it's good for BYU to have that mental challenge and to play up there every once in a while, just to kind of be in that type of an environment.
I love that game every year. I love it wherever it's played. I do enjoy it every couple of years in Logan as well, because it's fun to go up there. They're crazy and out of line at times and whatever. Like, it's fun. But obviously they don't cross the line. But 18 league games in the Big 12. If BYU goes 500 and then somehow goes 10-3 in non-conference, you're 19 and 12 going into the conference tournament. To get in at large, you probably need like 19 wins to just barely be off. So it's going to be tough. I understand it. It is a nod of respect to Utah State of, we don't want it to be too tough, because it's going to be a tough slog in the Big 12. It is absolute respect to Utah State's basketball program, which is very good, even though BYU's won 10 in a row.
Jarom, perhaps we've saved the best question for last.
Speaking of Utah State.
Which team will score more against Alabama? Yeah, speaking of the Aggies, as you said. Which team's going to score more against Alabama? BYU women's soccer or Utah State football?
Now, we're not talking points. We're talking like how many times you score. So like 3 goals equals 3 scores, right? And I'm not talking field goals. I'm talking touchdowns for Utah State. There's no way that BYU women's soccer doesn't outscore Utah State football. I think if women's soccer scored twice, I don't see Utah State scoring 2 touchdowns against Alabama. Utah State will score against Alabama. I just think it'll be like 10 points.
Yeah, I'm with you. I put the number at like 10, maybe like a 13, couple of field goals and a touchdown. But I feel like it's going to be like a 55-13 game for Utah State in Tuscaloosa. So if we're counting field goals,
then maybe
like a combination of those as like 1 score, maybe. Yeah, like if it's like. It's probably BYU women's soccer, which is crazy.
I know.
That's how good Alabama is.
I want Utah to lose every game. I'm cool with Utah State winning every game besides BYU. I feel differently. Maybe I've hung out there more, and it's they're also blue. I don't know what it is, but I'm not like anti-Utah State outside of the BYU game. Utah, hey, if they go 0-12, I'm happy.
Jarom, the Utah State theme of this show continues with our promo here. 7th-ranked BYU women's volleyball starts a busy weekend tonight against, the Aggies. Watch the match live 9 Eastern on BYU TV and the BYUTV app.
Both coaches played for the other team in college, which is fun. Would BYU be a top 5 Big 12 team right now? The debut of our completely unbiased Big 12 plus 4 power rankings is next as BYU Sports Nation continues from Provo and Tampa.
Utah is a special place. Our communities, the people, the history, there is no place quite like Utah. At Siegfried and Jensen, we're honored to say that we are from Utah. We live here, work here, and when someone is injured, we're proud to say we've helped a neighbor when they've needed it most. We know Utah. At Siegfried and Jensen, we're here for you. Call us today.
Football in Utah is all about the rivalries.
Red. Ooh, quarterback. Wide out. Rewards. Wait, what? My style, checking rewards. My style, right.
For Mountain America's My Style Checking, it's all about the benefits.
Loan discounts.
But it's hard to pick a favorite.
No, mobile phone protection. Telehealth. You're gonna need that when we're done. I heard that, let's go.
Get the account rivaled by no one. My Style Checking from Mountain America.
There's nothing quite like doing a live sketch.
Having the audience like nearby is really, really neat to just be able to connect with them and hopefully make their day better.
When you are doing a sketch and you hear your first laugh, it's just like, here we go, let's go for it.
I mean, one of the most rewarding things is having people saying like, I struggle with this or this, and you guys are able to make me laugh at it and realize like I'm not the only person going through those things.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Isaac Rex and the Cougars back in action coming up Saturday against South Florida. Cannot wait for that. Which brings us to this. BYU's going to join the Big 12 next year, of course. We feel like we're in the league already without playing games in there emotionally, right? Pac-12, Big 12 expansion. We're like, yeah. Big 12, it's Pac-12, let's go. So today we are introducing for the first time, it's the debut of our completely unbiased Big 12 plus 4, the 4 teams coming in, including Brigham, power rankings. So, Spence, let's walk through this, what we have determined.
Sports Nation, Big 12 plus 4 power rankings.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to do this throughout the season, basically so we can see where we think BYU fits, okay? We include Texas and Oklahoma, of course, until they leave the league, which is not for this plus 2 seasons, okay? All right, we have Oklahoma as the top team. I think that's pretty clear. People feel that way, although I don't buy into Dylan Gabriel as a starting quarterback per se. Maybe because BYU just absolutely destroyed Dylan Gabriel in the Boca Raton Bowl in 2020.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, and listen, it's the post-Lincoln Riley era, so how much of a drop-off will Oklahoma have?
Yeah.
They feel like that they're re-energized, and they're almost angry that happened, and so they the sense I get from Oklahoma is the Lincoln Riley departure has like motivated them, it has inspired them. All the players have like said, oh, we rallied around the new coach, like we didn't want him anyway. And so they're going off pure raw emotion here. I do think they have the most talent of any team in the Big 12 for sure. If they can, indeed, as they say, they will rally, they'll be the best team in the Big 12 when it is all said and done.
And this is as of right now, right? And we'll go through the season. This is not our prediction. This is what we think right now going into the year. Brent Venerable is the longtime Clemson DC, the head coach at Oklahoma now. Oklahoma State, they're coached by a man, Mike Gundy, who is over 40 at this point, a team that was a New Year's Six team last year. Then we have Baylor in the top 3 there. What do you think of that? Could Baylor won the league last year, but we have them at 3.
Yeah, Baylor probably feels disrespected by our completely unbiased Big 12 plus 4 initial power rankings, Jarom. I'm sure they're super angry that they're all the way down at number 3. They should be at least at number 2, not behind Oklahoma State. But again, I think you and I are kind of on the same page with Baylor, where it's like, yeah, they're really good. Their offensive line is going to be really good. They return a ton of talent, but they did lose some major, like, impactful pieces. So I think they're really good. I don't think they're top 10 good right now, Jarom. I think they're top 20 good, but I don't think they're top 10 good, which is why I put them at number 3.
Blake Shapen at quarterback now, who took over for Gary Bohannon, which we will see Saturday at South Florida there. Okay, we have Cincinnati after that. They lost 9 NFL draft picks, but a ton of respect, obviously, for Luke Fickell and his program. Then we have BYU all the way up at 5.
Yeah, not a shocker that BYU's in the top 5 of this ranking.
Completely unbiased, of course.
To the credit of BYU and Kalani Sitake, why would they not be in the top 5 of this ranking coming off a season where they went 6-1 against 7 Power 5s? They've won 10-plus games in back-to-back seasons. They finished in the top 20 rankings of back-to-back seasons. And apparently, their offensive line is better. Their starting quarterback is back. Why would BYU not be in the top 5? Give me that argument. I tried. I literally tried. Like, okay, is there a reason that BYU shouldn't be in this top 5? No. Who's over them right now with what BYU brings back?
We have Texas and Houston. I could see an argument for Houston over Texas at this point because Houston is one of those G5 sleepers last year, being a group of 5, who could knock on that New Year's Six door as the rep.
Yeah, and what's wild as I look at Texas and Houston and then Kansas State, UCF, and TCU, I'm thinking, man, there are a lot of really, really solid, good teams in this league.
Get used to it.
Iowa State and Texas Tech are 11 and 12 in this power poll. Like, going to Ames is going to be a huge challenge. Like, there's not a lot separating number 3 from number 11, right? Like, it's just very, very, very tightly contested. You got to go all the way to, like, West Virginia, which is kind of like a rebuilding program, and then Kansas, which is just, I mean, they're bad year in and year out. Like, that's an easy one.
Yeah.
But, I mean, literally from, like, number 3 to number 10 or 11, Jarom, like, would anybody be shocked if Iowa State beat Baylor in football head-to-head this year? No. No, because they're good, respectable programs.
Matt Campbell runs a great program there, even though he's got the bill of his hat like bent in a weird way, whatever. Okay, Kansas State after Houston, UCF, TCU, Iowa State way down there at 11, Texas Tech, West Virginia, and Kansas, of course. So any surprises in this list to you? Iowa State kind of sticks out as being kind of low at 11. Granted, didn't have a great year last year. The previous year, like, they won the Big 12 2 years ago in the kind of weird COVID year, of course. But we have BYU all the way at 5. We feel pretty good about this. And I wish so bad, Spence, that this BYU team could play in the Big 12. Because I just think they'd have a shot at the title, whereas next year we feel like BYU's really good this year. They're going to lose a lot of those pieces.
Yeah, it's we've talked about this before with Jaron Hall. Like, technically, Jaron has a couple of years of eligibility left.
There's another one.
Oh, man, maybe Jaron, he's coming back to lead BYU into the Big 12, but that would mean that maybe he didn't accomplish what he wanted to this year, and he didn't raise his draft stock.
He got hurt.
Maybe there's an injury involved. And so, yeah, like, we want Jaron to play, like, at a super high level this year and maximize his NFL draft potential and go. And so not having a veteran starting quarterback coming back as BYU transitions into the Big 12 is tough, which is, I think, why we're doing this poll. It's like, no, let's keep it going. Let's try and play this out in our minds so that we can kind of, in a way, experience this.
Next year, we're like, yeah, BYU starts at 9. Like, why wouldn't we do the poll?
Yikes.
I'm not sure.
It's tough. It's tough. But, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I want to see Jaron Hall play well, like, do his thing, and then we'll see what happens when BYU actually gets into the Big 12. But number 5 right now, and we need to keep tabs on this, especially the first one. Screenshot this, baby. We're coming back to this. We'll re-rank all these teams and see where they are at the end of the season. I want to see how close this initial poll is to the final poll.
Yeah, every week. Yes. We're paying attention, man. We're paying attention to the Big 12. Let's go.
All right, want to get ready for game day? Of course you do. You can get episodes of Coordinator's Corner after further review, and of course BYU Football with Kalani Sitake, all available on demand right now on the BYUTV app.
Coming up, today's Rise and Shoutouts as we put a bow on this one from Tampa and Florida. Will Spencer fire that cannon like George Q can?
Welcome to a partnership where customer experience comes first. It's our focus. It's your expectation. We provide support to those that go the extra mile for all of us. supplying products, training, and service for generations. Learn more at bradyindustries.com.
Introducing the truck for adventure. The all-new 2022 Nissan Frontier doesn't compromise on power or comfort. This mid-size truck was redesigned to incorporate the latest technology and designs for safety, comfort, and convenience. Plus, with up to 6,700 pounds of towing capacity and best-in-class horsepower, it's rugged enough for adventure and still safe enough to transport all your favorite people. Where's your new Frontier? You'll find it at Tim Dowling Nissan Southtown and South Jordan.
Familiar with the BYUTV app?
Yes.
I beg your pardon?
Sure, it's got great original TV shows. But it also gives you access to family films for free.
Wow. Awesome!
So gather around, grab some popcorn, and let us do the rest.
It'll be fun.
Watch some of your favorite films anytime, anywhere. With the free BYUTV app.
I like it.
There are things happening in Seaburg.
They care more about people spending money than they do about people getting sick.
If they're causing toxic pollution, it is everyone's fight. We can't just let them get away with it.
If anyone can figure this out, it's my brother.
Friends don't abandon each other. Fine. Be heroes.
I know what it's like to love someone so much you'd do anything for them.
Whatever happens, I'm glad we're facing it together.
Me too.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics.
BYU Sports Nation is on demand. Download the BYU TV and BYU Radio apps today or download the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Please subscribe, rate, and review the show.
I'm Jarom Jordan in Provo. Here's Spencer Linton in Tampa. Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation. Our question of the day: where are you perhaps overly confident in this BYU football team? And there are a lot of reasons to be confident. So where are you perhaps overconfident? Our elite voice of the day is presented by Sundance Mountain Resort at Sapporo Motion. 10-2 with road losses to Oregon and Spuddy Buddy. Nice. Boise State. Ranked number 11 by the selection committee. New Year's Six Bowl. That certainly would be the high end of this season because BYU is going to lose, you'd think, because of how tough the schedule is. As good as the team is, you have to remember they play somebody else. Multiple games. But would 10-2 get in? We'll probably discuss another day. Today's Rise and Shoutouts presented by Mountain America.
New Year's Six Bowl.
That'd be nice. The official credit union of BYU Athletics. On this day in 1984, BYU beat number 3 Pitt to start a national championship season. It was the first live college football game on ESPN. What a day! Our thanks to today's guest, Brian Logan.
Conversation continues 24/7, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Use the hashtag BYUSN.
Sorry to Dennis Pitta. We ran out of time. For Spencer, I'm Jarom. Shout out to Andrew Rich. We'll see you tonight for a soccer volleyball doubleheader on the BYUTV app. Go Cougs.